Hello and welcome back to Just Code It. Today we're looking into LangChain Middleware again, and this time we're exploring human in the loop. This middleware is essentially a LangGraph graph for this LangChain, allowing you to add human in the loop interactions easily without the complexity of LangGraph. After setting up the base URL and the model, we're gonna skip over the approval logic for now and move down because we have nothing to approve. These need to be above when they're used. And we're going to go straight into the tools. For the first example, we have a read email tool and a send email tool. They are essentially dummy tools. They don't actually do anything, but you can imagine them doing something. The read email tool takes in an email ID and then reads it and returns the email text. The send email tool takes in a recipient, a subject, and a body, and returns email sent to recipient with the subject. After that, we're going to create our email agent by create agent, model, pass it our tools, the list of tools. After putting in the tools, you might remember that we need to have a checkpointer when using human in the loop. The reason for this is because LangChain and LangGraph use the state to control almost everything throughout the application. When you interrupt the state, it needs to save that state so that is able to start back off right where it left off. Here, we're going to use this checkpoint to save that state and make a few changes within that state, letting the agent know that the interrupt is over, and it will grab the state back and start right back off. We're creating that checkpoint, and our middleware is human in the loop. Within the human in the loop, we're going to define our interrupts, and our interrupts are send email tool is going to be set to true, and read email tool is going to set to false. What this means is the send email tool will actually interrupt, but the read email tool will not. It can read many emails, but when it goes to send, it needs our permission. After that, we make our config using the runnable config with the config as the thread ID and the email ID to keep track of our agent. If we had many running, we would need to keep track of this more. Then we have our results, which is invoke messages and pass it a human message with our prompt, and also give it config set to config. If you don't want to do that, throw that in here. But the reason we're keeping it outside is for this next step. Like I said previously, state is really how you control everything within LangChain and LangGraph. Here, what we're doing is grabbing the email agent, getting the state, and how we do that is we pass it the config because this is a unique identifier. We're grabbing the right agent. After we proceed with the interrupt, we then start to make our decision. Our decision uses this other method. This other method takes in the tool. I'm hard coding it here, but you can dynamically figure this out by parsing the JSON. And we're gonna pass it the state task and the first one, which is the details about that tool. Actually run this one real quick. We can see it over here. We are at the approval, which is right up here. We've hit the state. Next, we've gone to the get human approval, and right now we are sitting right here in the code where we can either approve or deny, and based on that, it's going to return either approve or reject and print some stuff. Also, down here, when I mentioned that you can dynamically pick the tool, if you go to the interrupt, the name, and send email tool, this is how you would get it. Action, request, and then within that, the send name tool. I was just being lazy and didn't feel like parsing the JSON, so I just hard coded it. But in an application that has multiple interrupts with multiple different tools, you need to know what tool is actually being used. Go in there, grab your interrupt, get the action request, and grab the name of the tool. Now let's just hit 1, and you can see it goes through and ends. That is it though for the example 1. We are going to be using these two methods for the next example as well. The only issue is because this is hard coded, it's going to say the wrong tool. It's going to say send email when it's printing, but in reality, we could just pass the tool name in and put that right here. Tool name, come down here, and when you're going through with this, send the tool name like this now. And if you run that, it will give the same response. And now we can use it on the other ones. Example 2 is content publishing agent, or a writing and publishing agent, where you can draft, publish, and schedule posts for a content manager or a content producer. The agent uses 3 tools to draft, publish, and schedule posts. The 3 tools are 1, draft content, which drafts the content that is going to be published. Then we have a publish content, which takes in the content and the platform and publishes it. 3, schedule post, which takes in the content and the time and schedules the post. After creating all 3 of those tools, they're just dummy tools like before. We're going to do another agent, pass it a model, pass it all of our tools. Again, a checkpointer because we're doing human in the loop and we have that interrupt. After the checkpoint, we set up the middleware. I clicked away on that. The middleware where we have our interrupts. We have the first 2 interrupts that are identical, edit and reject. This means it will interrupt us for approves, edits, and rejects. And those are the decisions we are able to respond back for. For the draft, we just pass it a false, which says don't interrupt us and just do it on your own and come back to us only when you hit one of these schedule and publish tools. After creating our content agent, we're going to define our config, which is just that unique identifier. After that, we create our results using the content agent and then invoke with a message, a human message, with draft a post about AI safety and publish it to Twitter at 3 p.m. Print the results after that. Again, coming down here, we're grabbing that state, passing it into check the interrupt, and we're going to just say it's a publish tool, but it could actually be a schedule tool. I'm pretty sure it actually does end up being a schedule tool for the most part. Let's give this a run and see what happens. After running the second example, you're going to need to scroll to the top. What is going on is the human message. The AI takes it, hands it off to the draft tool, and the draft tool will iterate on that until it generates content with the correct length. A few iterations on that. Then it goes to scheduling. Once the post is created and meets the requirements for the post, it is passed off to the schedule post tool. Now, here we have the schedule. This is when the interrupt happens. We see this interrupt right down at here, and we can see the content for what it's trying to post. It's trying to post this content at 3 o'clock. Those are the arguments it's trying to, then it's causing the interrupt because it's trying to do an approve. After it keeps going, I give it an approval down here and it goes ahead and finishes up with approving it. Let's run it one more time just so you can see how it works. The example pops up, it takes a little while to run. It's refining that prompt or refining that content until it gets to what it needs. Then we can approve it and it would then send or schedule that task. That is it though for human in the loop in LangChain. If you know LangGraph, this is also extremely useful for that. Human in the loop is always useful in LangGraph. You have to do it in some other ways or in essentially the same way. I really like how they implemented it here because it keeps the simplicity of LangChain where you're thinking linearly and don't have to make it more complex using LangGraph. If you have any ideas for projects, please comment down below. Please like and subscribe. It helps out the channel. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll see you next time.